Side hustle culture gets talked about a lot in the modern workplace. So does diversity and inclusion. I think that one's treated like the other, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm Dr. Jonathan. I work with organizations to make them inclusive, and I'm on a mission to help 1 million people like you to make your workplace inclusive. Get your pen and paper ready, because we're talking about 4 reasons why diversity and inclusion work is like a side hustle. The word side hustle is used so often, I'm not even sure what it means anymore. For most people, it's an activity that you do outside of your day job. For some, it's a hobby. For some, it's a creative outlet. For others, it's a financial necessity. The reason I'm talking about this is because it's increasingly clear to me that diversity and inclusion work is being treated like a side hustle. Not by you, but by organizations. They're making it into your side hustle. And if we're headed into a recession, if we're in a recession, we may see more of this. This show is meant to be a cautionary tale. Here, we like to challenge the practices that harm you, cheat you, deceive you. And I think treating diversity and inclusion work like a side hustle is one of them. And I've got 4 reasons why. Actually, I've got 10, but I'm going to give you 4. First reason is most of the work happens at the side of your desk. Lack of resources, lack of support. No one takes it seriously. This is what starting a side hustle is like. Something you're interested in, but you don't think you've got everything you need. Those phrases I mentioned earlier are actually quotes taken from interviews I've conducted with people like you. I've had countless interviews, countless conversations with everyday leaders who want to build inclusion. And the phrase, side of your desk, is just a perfect example of it. You probably do a lot. You're involved in employee resource groups. You attend all the events. You do what you can to make a difference. And sometimes, let's be honest, it can be risky. You don't get paid to do this. It's not your job. Maybe it's someone else's job. You do all this on the side of your desk. That's why they treat diversity and inclusion like it's your side hustle. The second reason, you need to put in hours during the weekends and holidays. It feels like there's not enough hours in the day. For this reason, you have to give up your free time. Having a side hustle can't take place during the 9 to 5. You've got other responsibilities. You can't ignore them. This may even conflict with your day job. Too many people feel the same about inclusion, especially if you're part of an employee resource group. Here, we define employee resource groups as voluntary groups of employees with shared values, shared interests, or a shared identity. The key word here was voluntary. If you're giving up your time, it's often exactly that. Your time, not company time, and that's why they treat diversity and inclusion like it's your side hustle. The third reason, it's not about the money, it's about your beliefs. In the beginning, there's no money. It's just your belief in creating something different. When you begin a side hustle, you may not know where to start. In technical terms, all your efforts are driven by your enthusiasm and your passion to do something. This is a good description of most organizations at the start of their inclusion journey. A better way to say that is, it's a good description of you. Organizations typically outsource the what do we do job to willing volunteers. Volunteers like you. This is before anyone takes it seriously. The people who lead in the beginning, typically, they're intrinsically motivated to do so. They're the people who are passionate about diversity. They don't even expect money. They just believe in something bigger than themselves. They want to contribute. Organizations know this. That's why they treat diversity and inclusion like it's your side hustle. The fourth thing is that you keep going in the hope that it will take off. And I want to acknowledge you because not everybody does. No recognition, no encouragement. No one is paying attention to you. You just keep showing up. You're a believer. You keep going. And there's a number of reasons why you do this. Maybe you think it's good for business. Maybe you believe in greater representation. Maybe you think it's the right thing to do. And here's the thing, and you can think of this as a 5th bonus. When you start winning, when you start making progress, everybody wants to get involved. I want you to think about this. How many ideas in life, in the world, are ridiculed, are laughed at, and then when it takes off, everyone thinks it's a good idea? I did a whole show on a related concept, the free rider problem of diversity and inclusion. Some people, like you, do all the work. Other people benefit. This is similar to side hustles. Someone does a lot of work, no one believes until it becomes a success, until it gets recognition from a third party, then everybody wants to get involved. When you start something that has an impact, they say they were with you all along. That's why they treat diversity and inclusion like it's your side hustle. In this episode, I've been very ambiguous about what a side hustle is. I want you to make your own mind up, but I really understand this because this happened to me. You could argue that this podcast is a side hustle. It's something that I did at the side of my desk. I've got a day job. I work with organizations to make them inclusive. This podcast is over and above that. I put in hours on weekends and holidays. I keep publishing in the hope that it will take off, and I didn't check the download figures for 2 years. During that time, there wasn't much recognition, there wasn't much encouragement, no one was paying attention. Not everyone thought it was a good idea. One of my favorite posts that I've put online is called Reactions to My Podcast Journey. 2017, I don't see the point. 2019, it seems like a lot of work. 2020, you've timed it perfectly. 2022, have you got time for a coffee? That's how people reacted to me with this podcast, with this side hustle. We get emails every week from authors and experts who want to appear on the show. That's nice. I remember when no one contacted us. I remember when authors and experts ignored us and didn't want to appear on the show. I know what it's like to be treated like a side hustle. I say this because there's something you've put a lot of time in, a lot of effort in, and it feels as if it's a side hustle. I'm saying this because I want to encourage you. And there is a dark side to all this. Hustle culture sometimes implies unlimited resources. And I mean you as an unlimited resource. Hustle culture sometimes implies you're not going to get tired. You're not going to burn out. You're not going to get demotivated. You need to hustle. You need to grind. And this isn't always healthy. Also, this approach to hustle culture is completely inappropriate. A side hustle, in the way that I want to talk about it here, is an activity that you choose to do. You're in control. You're the decision maker. When I say diversity and inclusion work is like a side hustle, it's an activity that you choose to do, but you're not always in control. You may not be the decision maker, but they'll allow you to do all the work. So what can you do about this? I want to leave you with 2 things. First, check the organization is as motivated as you. One thing we like to talk about is integrity. Are the words and actions lining up? And this actually leads us to the second thing, which is check the diversity promise of the organization. We did a whole show on this. What's the implied promise of the organization? What's the social contract, the psychological contract that they are impressing on you? I really want you to understand this because side hustles, like diversity and inclusion, take a lot of effort. And I want you to make sure that you know what you're getting into and with who. So let's wrap this up. What are the key messages here? 1. Organizations treat diversity and inclusion work like a side hustle. 2. This requires a lot of effort from you and there is a dark side. And 3. Make sure they're as motivated as you. So what do you think? Do you think diversity and inclusion work is like a side hustle? Get in touch or leave a message. I would love to hear from you. If you've learned something from today's show, then give us a 5-star review and a comment wherever you're listening to the podcast. It helps other people like you to find the show. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.